And we're up. Welcome to the H&N Digital Center for another edition of the Long Game Podcast. Today's guest, Mr. Garrett Gabriel, one of the great quarterbacks in University of Hawaii program history in the late 80s, early 90s. Lots of great memories for Rainbow Warrior football fans. I'm guessing, Garrett, nowadays when people talk with you, it's in the context of the success of your children, especially Dillon, who's playing with the Cleveland Browns, which is a great problem to have.
Correct.
But this is a spot now, this is a forum where we get to talk about you and talk about the successes that you've had. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
This is fun. I'm really excited to do this. Let's start with this. Where was home base for the Gabriel family growing up?
Home base, well, I grew up in the Alimano area. My sisters went to Radford High School. One of them had a stint at University Lab, then she went back to Radford. My brother went to Punahou, and me and my youngest sister, because we played basketball, went to Maryknoll. So Alimano growing up, and then my college years, my parents moved to Pearl City. So that's where I was for most of my college football years.
Were you always a two-sport athlete?
Yeah, I mean, I even played baseball, but when I was going into my sophomore year, I decided that, playing three sports wasn't, I couldn't do it because it was just too demanding. And of course, I love basketball, so basketball was one and football was two.
Your brother played at Punahou. He played both sports, basketball and football.
Yes.
And then how did you end up at Pac-5 with Maryknoll?
It was pretty simple. I mean, Coach Celo was the basketball guru at Maryknoll, and he's a well-spoken individual, and he got to my mom, and he sold my mom on it that, you don't need the bigger school. He can come here and be successful at Maryknoll playing basketball. So he was the person that sold it to my parents, and next thing you know, I'm at Maryknoll High School.
Describe the experience of playing under Coach Celo.
Wow, till this day, having, coached myself, I think the thing that rubbed off the most on me was how he made it enjoyable for the kids. And he was very demanding and tough on the court to play for him, very vocal.
What was practice like under him?
Oh, it was crazy. He'd get after you. But at the same time, what he did off the court, wasn't seen. The way he treated you, took care of you. I mean, he'd do anything for you off the court. And that's what I try to do for my kids. Let them understand that basketball is just a game, but how you treat someone off the court, it means more, because he was truly like a home away from home dad for us while we were at Maryknoll.
How did football enter the picture? And when, because the seasons kind of played out naturally there, and then when did you notice that you started gravitating more toward the sport?
Well, football, when I was in probably Pop Warner years, my brother was a good football player, so I don't say I was in the beginning, but they forced me that, he played, you're going to play or else. So I just, I started off as offensive lineman, didn't really like being hit. So then I could throw the ball, always had a strong right arm, and my uncle's like, why don't you go play quarterback then, and it started from there. Got in there, played, and just fell in love with the position. And watching my brother at Punahou, going there to his games and seeing him play, definitely wanted to kind of follow in his footsteps.
Looking back in the archives, Pac-5 football in the 1980s was something else. Describe the context of what the program meant back then, and just the sustained period of excellence that it had.
It was awesome. It was competitive. People always felt like we had an advantage playing for, the five schools that was made up Pac-5, but, we only had certain amount of kids from each school. And the biggest schools were Maryknoll, University Lab, and Mid-Pacific. The other schools, Hawaii Baptist, and can't even remember the other one, but they were smaller schools, and we only had like five, maybe four players from. But even kids today, they're like, what, Pac-5 was successful before? And I'm like, hell yeah, we were. We were good. We had some talent. We competed with St. Louis and Kamehameha. I mean, it wasn't like I say after the fact, after we left. And, when we were the last team to win the Prep Bowl before St. Louis went on their 14-year run, I mean, people still couldn't believe that Pac-5 had been that successful. I love Coach Bo, another one, Coach Don Botello. Love that guy. I mean, just believed in me as a player, as a quarterback, and just good. Good coaches, but better players. We can go right down the line and name all the players we had at Pac-5. And my teammate Pio Sagopogotelli was so ironic that he got drafted by the Cleveland Browns. So when we went to Cleveland for that family thing, I remember standing there and telling my wife, you know what, this is pretty amazing that Pio actually walked in this building, and bless his heart, he was taken too young from us, but he was like the start, of us truly understanding professional sports and the Cleveland Browns.
Playing for Coach Celo, playing under Coach Botello, how did you notice the styles compared?
Very, very different, but both very effective.
Yeah.
I understood when Coach Bo would get upset, it was a different type of upset. But we knew when he was upset. Coach Celo, he let everybody know he was upset. He was very vocal, and that's the Italian in him. He's boisterous, but you either love him or you hate him. And for us, it was all love. Till this day, he's like the godfather of, Maryknoll. That's how I saw it, and that's how till this day how I see it. He was the most impactful person at that school, and he was a teacher. He taught some classes, but just the way he dealt with people and dealt with the players he had. It's one of those things you'll remember forever.
What was Pac-5's playing style? I want to stay on this for a little bit because I think a lot of the younger folks nowadays, you're right. They can't recall a time. It throws them off a little bit when you hear, like, there was a time when Pac-5 was running the show. So what was it like being out there?
It was, Coach Bo was I say a pass first kind of. We'd be in trips. There's times we'd be in empty. We'd have a tight end every now and then, but he wasn't afraid to. He'd always roll out. We were a rollout based team. Put the pressure on teams by throwing the ball. But he'd also line up in I formation and run the ball. So we were a variety of in terms of offensive looks.
Almost like an attack before its time.
Yeah, he was somebody. St. Louis used to do the same, but St. Louis was the true run and shoot. Coach Bo would like the trip sets, the rollouts, and putting pressure, flooding the zone, and then also utilizing the guys we had, one-on-one. He was good at matchups, knowing where we had an advantage, and he'd go to it constantly until they did something different defensively.
Who were your guys' biggest rivals at the time?
I thought, for me, it was Kamehameha because we struggled against Kamehameha. They had talent back then, and so they were very good. So I thought they were our rivals. We knew St. Louis was always good, but at that time, we were beating St. Louis consistently. So it wasn't like they were blowing us out and, there's the mercy rule. When they played us, they had to, make sure they were ready to go.
How often do people bring up the Prep Bowl victories to you?
We do, because it was something that, we've only won it twice, 82 and 86 or 85. So we bring it up a lot. And those were the glory years for Pac-5. That we had some talent back then. And then once St. Louis started their recruiting process, and getting the kids that they got from Camp 4, all those up in the housing area, they had some talented players, and they were far more talented than people when they went on that 14-year run.
Walk me through your college recruiting process. How did that go for you back in 1985, 86?
It wasn't, I can tell you right now, it wasn't like it was, like it is now. Guys are recruiting kids from their freshman year. And just talking to them, communicating, you have to build that relationship. Back then was, hey, come to your practice, come to your house, the head coaches, and talk to your parents. Very similar to now, but the assistant coaches are the ones that build strong relationships with the players nowadays. And then you throw in NIL, sometimes it's become who offers the most money. There's some truth to that, but at the same time, you have to have a relationship with the player you're recruiting. And I think there's so much of that going on now. I was there, Coach Tomey came to my house and, came to my basketball games and did those things. But it was pretty simple because I love basketball, but I never got a scholarship for it. And my mom was like, no, you're not going basketball. You got a full ride to Hawaii. That's where you're going. So it made it simple. Because if I did have a basketball scholarship, I might have chosen basketball because that was always my first love.
Take me to your first day on the UH campus, and you're starting to get into training camp with the program. Your impressions of kind of the team that you were entering right there and the possibilities ahead.
I was shell shocked because I went in there. I came in as a 17-year-older, so I'm seeing all these older guys. Physically way stronger, quicker. And so I had to just adapt right away. I knew I had to improve my physical abilities. Struggled with a bunch of stuff early on, but then kind of just said, I'm tired of being embarrassed, and said, I got to jump rope runs. Everything, work on your legs, upper body, and just get adjusted that way in order to have a chance to get on the field.
What did those kind of low times look like for you in your early days with the Bows program?
Oh, it was brutal because it plays a part in your head. You're second guessing a lot of things. And then Coach Tomey leaves after my true freshman year, so I had one year with him, and he leaves to go to Arizona, and I'm stuck thinking, what the hell am I going to do? I put some feelers out. Weber State, Montana they had one of the Lee brothers there coaching.
And this is a time where in the 80s, it's not like nowadays where there's a portal and you have all these coaches coming after you.
No, and you have to sit out a whole year on top of it, so that was tough. But I think what helped me was Bob Wagner was the transition guy. He was going to take over as he was a DC for Dick Tomey, and so he was going to get the job. That's what we heard. And then he talked to me before I even made a decision. He's like, hey, I know you're not built for this, but I just want you to know I won't take away your scholarship. If you stay, I'll let you battle and see what happens. I knew if I had a chance, I'd really have to play well, play consistent in order to, because it wasn't, it was run first. And when you run the triple option, it's crazy because you get hit every play. And so that was another part. I knew quarterback lasting the whole season of triple option is not, it's rough. So you need at least two guys. And I felt if I was in the top two, I might have had a chance to get in the game.
That must have been an adjustment period when you start unveiling that offense in practice. And wait, what are we signing up for here? Where I'm going to take a pop every play now?
No question. When you going through it, you're like, for me, it was like, damn, I didn't sign up for this. I wanted to be in the shotgun. I wanted to be a drop back, play action. And I had to adjust my mindset for sure.
But you still found a way. That's the thing. Because you look at the stats, I'm seeing 5,000 yards, nearly 50 touchdowns. To make that happen in that type of offense is something else.
And I think, what's the biggest part about that now that you mention it, I think that's one of the biggest things I instilled in Dillon is you have to find a way. You have to adjust. People are going to make all these comparisons. You're too short. You're too this. You're too. And my thing was, they don't know. They can't measure your heart. They can measure all your intangibles and say this. But even for me, I just said I got to find a way to get on the field. And that was always in my mind. What am I going to do? I got to problem solve. I got to change this. I have to make certain adjustments. And I think that was a big thing I instilled in him, because I knew, even with him wanting to play quarterback, I tried to tell him, bro, it's one person. So it's not like receiver, lineman. They're not going to sub you out. You either sit and watch until it's your time, and then you got to jump at the opportunity.
Yeah, and be ready for it.
Exactly.
Right.
And even now, we talk about it. I tell him, bro, you're one play away. That's scary. It is, but at the same time, it's also a dream, what you've been waiting for to do. All you've asked for is opportunities, and this is one. And then you got to jump at it, and he's, more power to him. Whenever he's had the opportunities, he understood, sometimes I got to play hurt. Sometimes I got to do this, because once you go out and somebody goes in and does well, that's the quarterback position. You're waiting, and the ultimate Drew Bledsoe and
Tom Brady
move.
Right.
No fault of his own, but Tom just went in there and never gave it up. And some people say it's unfair, and yeah, in a lot of ways it is, being a quarterback. But again, he waited for that opportunity, and he jumped at it and never gave it up. 7 Super Bowls later, people are like, what was the biggest thing about that? And all I took from it was, when the opportunity came, he never relinquished it, and more power to him.
It's like what athletes say: the pressure is a privilege. To be able to be on that stage and to have that moment in front of you is a chance that not many have. So you have to be able to grasp it right there when the moment is at hand.
No question. More so being a quarterback. You have to have a short memory. You definitely can't look at social media, because all those things,
Could you imagine if social media existed back in the mid-'80s?
It was bad already. I mean, I'd heard things, you hear things, you see it in the paper. So-and-so can't do this, can't run, can't throw, I've heard people say, and I'm laughing because you got people on podcasts saying, oh, Dillon Gabriel, he's not an NFL quarterback. And I'm like, well, yeah, he is. He's getting paid like one. He made a team.
He got drafted as
so
one.
all those
Right.
guys saying, I'm like, just say the right stuff. You don't have to cut down kids. You can praise who you want to praise, but you don't have to cut down other people just to prove your point, whatever you're trying to get at.
When you talk with a lot of UH football fans, one of the proudest memories that they bring up when talking about your playing career, the back-to-back wins against BYU. Before we go to the 1989 win, provide me some context. What was UH's relationship with BYU prior to that game? Is that kind of the genesis of the rivalry in the previous years beforehand?
Yeah, you know what? In my mind, before I even went to UH, we used to go and watch the games, and the constant narrative was, every year we lose, the closer we lose. And I mean, this was going on for like 14, 15 years, I'm not sure. But I've always thought, in my mind, I've always told myself, I want to play in just big games. If it was just big games, I'd want to play in. I never look forward to the Pacific, not to say those teams are, but the Pacifics,
it's okay.
New Mexico at the time. I mean, just
right.
teams that, it never caught my attention, but BYU did, because I'm always like, oh, these guys think they're better than us. They think they're this, and then you put in your mind, I'm like, I want an opportunity at that. If I just start one game, that was my thing. If I just start one game in my career, I want it to be against BYU, just to prove a point. Because what's funny is, I loved BYU quarterback. I loved Jim McMahon. He was like my idol. He was like, I tell people I got a bad habit from him, chewing tobacco. It's not something I'm proud of, but he used to chew tobacco, go on the field, and at BYU, that's not something you're supposed to be doing.
Right.
He was always a rebel, But I just liked his leadership, his confidence. I felt like, that's the guy I want to be like. Look at him. He doesn't care what people say. He's going to do it his way and so forth.
Did he torture UH when he played against them?
Oh, he beat him, yeah, for sure. But UH always played well against BYU. It was always, they knew what the game meant for us. And I think we're coming close each year. Even the year before we beat them, Hekoti Fakava just got stopped on a 2-point play. We decided to go for it. So, we were getting close. Walter Murray drops the ball in the end zone. People, it was like, it's not like they blew us out every year. But the people from Hawaii knew how important they wanted to beat them so bad. And for me, again, an opportunity. I don't care if I start one game my whole 4 years. That was the game I wanted to play in.
1989, your junior season, that seems to be one of the years where things are starting to fire on all cylinders, where you got your groove, you feel comfortable in the offense. What clicked in that matchup against BYU for that season?
I tell people...
That was in the middle of the year, too. If I
remember. That was like our I don't know exactly what it was, but we were playing well. We had a good team that year. We're smaller, quicker. We could run with people. At times we struggled with guys running right at us, but they couldn't match up with our speed. Jeff Seidner, Dane MacArthur, Chris Roscoe, Derek Branch, Leonard Lamy. We had a bunch of, and our running backs, Jamal Farmer, Travis Sims, Richard. We had a good offense, and I knew. Coach Paul would always say, Johnson would always say, they can't run with us sideline to sideline. Now we run straight at them. Yeah, they're better suited for it. So I knew we'd have a chance. And then our defense just put a hurting on that. That's what made it even worse. We still would have beat them had our defense not played up to par. But their speed blitzing you and covering you. It was a bad matchup for them. More so. And then the following year, Paul would say the same thing. He's like, they got the same guys. We got the same guys. So they still can't guard us, and that was his message. And it was simple, but it was true. And I just, like I said, when I saw the second one being the last game of my career, I was like, I just got to make it to that last game so that I can start and leave Hawaii football with that lasting memory. So it worked out. I was going to play if I was hurt. I wanted to play that game so bad when I saw it on the schedule, but I knew it was the last game, and we struggled somewhat that year. Had some games we should have won. Again, felt like we were 7-5, but we should have been 9-3. 2 games we lost we shouldn't have. Colorado State and at UTEP, 12-10, and we were up on Colorado State and lost 31-28, something like so. Both years we're 9-2-1. We lose to Air Force. Of all people, you never expect Jason Elam to miss a kick. We should have been 10-2, but it wasn't just his fault. He was injured. He had a bad hammy or a quad. But in 2 years, I feel like we could have been 19-5, and so it was good Hawaii football. Stadium was filled. People would come, and we averaged 46,700. Compared to now, I wish those kids who are playing would get to run into a stadium and see that kind of crowd just, going crazy. So it's good memories, and I wish, again, for me, it's just seeing these guys put out and not having the same kind of atmosphere that we did back in the 80s.
The newspaper getting all shredded up, falling from the stands.
Oh my God, it was crazy. You feel
it felt like it looked like a cement surface that you guys are playing on back then.
Yeah, the turf was brutal, but playing at 7:05 start time. People don't understand. The people from Hawaii getting all fired up pregame, whatever you want to call it, cocktail. They were fired up coming into the game. And that was part of the atmosphere. You know, people would think they come down here for a game and it'd be Hawaii. Let's go see this. Let's go sightseeing and let's enjoy ourselves and beat Hawaii. But a lot of them always walked out there with a loss. So that's the hospitality that we're supposed to give them.
Perfect. 1990, the stage couldn't have been set better. So I had to double check this. So back then, the Heisman Trophy was announced before
Correct.
the regular season was over.
Yeah. Yep.
There was still one game left to play. So Detmer was awarded the Heisman. BYU quarterback Ty Detmer was awarded the Heisman that day.
Yeah. They threw him in the pool. They put it on ESPN, and you know they were celebrating. And I mean,
So he found out at the team hotel.
yeah.
You guys watched this.
Oh, I saw it. I don't know about those guys, but I saw it, and I was like, perfect. What better than to beat the number 3 team in the nation and the Heisman Trophy winner? So, and that's what I loved about this whole scenario. People don't understand. Ty Detmer had a chance to come down to college football games, the Hula Bowl and this and that. He always chose to go away from Hawaii. And I don't blame him. I wouldn't want to come to Hawaii to play a game. His success here, he's 0-2 with, you know, not some good memories. I mean, it's a team game. It's not just him because he was awesome throughout his career. But, yeah, he didn't want to come down to Hawaii even for the Hula Bowl. Just having that memories, it wasn't good memories. So for us, that was awesome.
When you guys saw that, what were the conversations like with your teammates? He was like, okay.
Oh, they were fired up. You know the local boys. I mean, even the Malin guys we had, they knew what it meant. That you're going to come down here. You know, people were saying they're seeking revenge on you, and you know they want this for last year, and it wasn't very much different. So that was fun. That was some good. That's like a good story people don't understand. To beat that team back-to-back years, and they were pretty damn good. So, you know, that's something people, the team, the coaches can hold their heads high even now when talking about it.
What was the trash talk like in those matchups?
Oh, for us, there were some. You know, there were some local boys on that team from Hawaii. I can't remember, but the biggest talker was number 36. Davis was his last name. I can't remember his first name, but he used to talk trash the whole game. Even when we won, he said, "Yeah, they're lucky. Next year we'll get them." You know, it was fun. That guy was. Hawaii people definitely remember him because he was always chirping at us, and so.
Missed those days.
Oh my God, it still goes on, just a different level, I would assume, but yeah, that's just part of football. I mean, it continued. That will go on forever. It was back in the olden days till now. I mean, kids talking is part of the game, you know, and then going out there and trying to back it up.
Looking back on your time at UH, what are you proudest of?
The quality of football we put out there. I mean, I know it's coaches and players alike, but they knew when they played Hawaii, it wasn't going to be a pushover. And nobody really blew us out in those years. So even when we lost, so we knew what we were putting out on the field that people were proud of. And that's all you want. You know what I mean? You want to go out there and show them that we can play at a high level regardless who we play. So that for me is important, what you put out there. If it's at a level that people respect and enjoy, then for me that's part of it.
Did you meet your wife while in college or after your playing days at UH?
I met her when we were in high school. We're high school sweethearts. I was a sophomore. She was a freshman when we met up. So, yeah, we've known each other for married for 30-something, but we've known each other for 42 years.
Nice.
So, yeah, that's she's key in all their successes also, and just, as she puts it, taking care of her 4 boys. I'm one of them, so.
There's 3 sons, Garrison, Roman, and Dillon. Did they all gravitate toward football at a young age, watching you?
Not really. My son Garrison, he tried playing. He didn't like it. We had him play. I said, you got to try at least 2 years. Didn't like it. So I didn't force him. I'm like, okay, go ahead, play basketball. And then he ended up being really good in volleyball. He was a libero. Could have had a chance, walked on UH at one point, and then went to Orange Coast County, but just fell out of love with it. So, but he was talented as a libero, and I didn't know nothing about volleyball. But he was good. He won an OIA championship. So that's my claim. Dillon was much easier because Dillon was like a dog you let out of a cage. I mean, he used to be at the brothers game. I mean, brothers practices, even at a young age, getting all the young brothers out and setting up 3-on-3, 4-on-4, getting the bags, teaching them how to hit. I mean, he was just a leader from day one. I mean, I knew with his leadership alone that he had a chance because, I mean, he had kids doing crazy stuff to this day. I don't understand how those kids followed him, but he did. And then Roman, my baby, he grew. He got the height. He's 6'3.5". He's proud of it. Dillon's all pissed at him because he's like, if I was 6'3", I'd be there. I'd be like, okay, stop. But he's my basketball player, so they all play different sports. Love it. They've all won OIA championships. So as their dad, proud, but I never forced them to play. It's kind of like where you channeled it. Dillon was football, this and that. Played basketball also, was going to play for me, but I was like, bro, you need to not get injured and stick to football. So it was fun. I mean, they've all found their own niche in terms of what they liked from a sports perspective, and then just supported them. That's all we've done. Been there every step of the way, supporting them, which is, as a parent, that's probably the most important things you can do for your kids.
So Roman just started his freshman year at a school in Oregon.
Bushnell.
Bushnell College.
Yeah, it's an NAIA basketball school. Great competition. And the reason I was happy about that, he had other places he was talking to and could look at, but we just loved the Oregon area. I was telling my wife, every time we go back there, there's such a good vibe. Like, I want to go there and just hang out. I mean, it's wine country. There's, Marcus was there, the football people we still have relationships with, the Steins, the Lannings. I mean, it's just awesome. I don't know how to explain it. So when he wanted to go there, I was like, let's go. That's a place for you. They know you. They know, your brother. It was easy for him to get around. One of his roommates from Kamehameha plays basketball, Makai Bar. Mm-hmm. So having a local boy there with him is first two Hawaii people to play basketball at Bushnell.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Making us all proud. You said Dillon, when he was out there, felt like a natural leader from day one. When did it start to hit you and your wife that, this is something that he can take far?
I tell people, I've mentioned it to the Heisman in one of the stories that I said when he played, I moved him around because I wanted him to play when he was younger to see what it's like playing on teams that are not so good. So I moved him to Manoa Paniolos. We actually drove from Mililani to take him to practices, and the team was really good, and we ended up going to Florida for the football championships, whatever level that was, junior, peewees, or pop. I can't even remember. But when I went up there were 8 teams, and so I went up there and watched each one practice. I went to watch the quarterbacks, and just watch. I was like, if this is top, and so I'm watching all the kids, and I'm watching him, and I said, I felt like he was in the top 2-3 quarterbacks there. So then, I told her, I said, he may have a chance at, getting a college scholarship and going somewhere if he keeps it up. And again, you need to progress, physical standpoint, mental standpoint, all that good stuff. But again, he had my knowledge to help him. That's the advantage he had. He didn't know at the time, but I was hard on him. I put him in situations that was tougher for most kids because I wanted him to understand that you're going to face adversities, you're going to face challenges, and sometimes, yeah, you want the winning record, you want to be on the winning teams all the time, but the valuable lessons are when you learn when things aren't so good and how you pick yourself up from it. So I did some of that with him growing up, specifically to see how he'd respond.
Did you two have some hard conversations? He's coming to you like, why are you putting me in these spots here? Like, what?
Yeah, not so much, because he loved football, so he didn't care. What was, he didn't understand at the time until he got to high school. In high school, we had a lot of moments where,
just different aspects.
We talk about coaching, we talk about this, how people are treating you, what you have to do, and don't believe all the hype, don't believe all the good stuff people are saying at times, because you want to always have that, I need to get better, I want to do this, I need to improve on. And that's what I tell him. Dad never had that help, so utilize me. You can get mad at me all you want. That didn't bother me at all, because I knew what I wanted to do for him, what I wanted to teach him. And yeah, there are days, why are we doing this? Why are we? And I said, later on you'll thank me. But, not knowing, of course, he's going to get drafted and get into be on a professional team. We never went that far, but I thought in college level, he could be a good quarterback.
Looking at all the highlights, take me to the to draft day and how that unfolded from your perspective, because watching it, seeing the broadcast, seeing the quarterbacks go off the board, all the talk about his teammate now, Shedeur Sanders, all that talk. So what was draft day like for you guys, and how was that party like?
That was fun. I mean, let me go one step before that. All through his college career, it's tough moving. He was like, I call him a trailblazer, because he was the first starting quarterback to leave. Granted, it was because of an injury, and he didn't feel like the offense suited him. So moving to Oklahoma, of course, all the UCF people were upset, understandably. Go to Oklahoma, playing a great program, and then finishing up at Oregon. He made all the right decisions looking back. Me and the mom was kind of like, what are you doing? We would question as parents, like, why are you?
Well, he would bring up the decision to.
Oh yeah, because it was tough. He wanted to play at a high level. He always had that mentality. I want to see. I want to test myself. Can I play at this level? Am I good enough? Because, people always had that question. Well, he's thrown for 600 yards in a game. He's scored 8 touchdowns in a game. People don't even know that. He's done a lot of trend-setting things, and he's still average. And we knew as a family and whatnot he was better than average, but nobody, toward his last year when they're undefeated, number one team in the nation, he started getting some respect. But with draft day, I mean, that was exciting, because he was more nervous than anybody else. He wanted to go day 2, and he kept saying that. I'm a day 2. I'm a day 2, and if I don't go, I'm not going to be as happy as I should be. And we're like, hey, just be happy you're being drafted. I mean? That's in itself is something great, because there's a lot of people don't get drafted. But in his mind, again, that's what people don't understand. In his mind, he's thinking ahead. He knows what he. I tell people, you don't know how much people he had to beat out just to be a quarterback. We're making like, oh, he started here. But you beat out some good people. I mean, some 5 stars, some 4. I mean, it's not easy doing what he did. So his mind was like, I know what I'm capable of doing. And everybody doubted that part. You don't understand. Even sometimes I'm like going, wow, he's saying that. He feels that. And I'm like, I questioned it. But again, I'm not him, right? I'm not. So he was excited. He felt like when we met with the Cleveland Brass up in Oregon, all 12 of them, owner, and the questions they poured on him, then going to the boardroom and seeing how they questioned him and tested him. And they let me and the mom sit in there, which they never they say they rarely do.
This is with the Browns
Yeah.
during the draft process.
Yeah. So
That meeting must have been something else.
for me, somebody with being a quarterback thinking that I know a lot, when I sat in there, I walked out going, to play at this level, you have to be on your P's and Q's. You have to understand the game, and you have to put the time in to understand it, because it's not easy. I mean, even calling a play is like, how long? I mean, it takes a while just to do that, and not counting your checks when you go to the line, getting protection calls. People, I mean, it's more than just lining up and dropping back and throwing a football. So he proved he was capable of doing that, and he did that well. He even impressed me, which is tough to do sometimes as his dad. But, so he was happy. He felt, and I think the relief, being chosen in the third round and, having an opportunity to live his dream. Shit, everybody was excited. I mean, the whole family enjoyed it, and it was a moment that he's waited for a long time. But for us, it was new. But at the same time, throughout all the support, everybody was happy for him and came, and he had his draft party afterwards, and was the party. I mean, it was a party of a lifetime, being honest. It was awesome.
Did you get to listen to that call?
Yeah.
It's on speaker with the three of you?
Yes. My wife started crying first, so we're always teasing her. We know once she starts crying, we know good things. It's happy tears, but we were teasing her. And, he said, Andrew Berry said what he said. And, everybody just, proud moment for sure.
Did you meet with other teams as well?
He did. He went to the Jets. He went to, where else did he go to? But he was talking to several teams. There was a lot of interest, especially from Miami. Even later, Miami was still calling and, wanting to trade for. I mean, it's amazing. We and again, would have been, either way, it would have been fun being under two. I mean, just he's a local boy, right? So, they were saying we would have taken him, in the fourth, but it was cool just to know that, there's several teams that liked him.
Hearing about your family dynamic, how gratifying is it to have the closeness that you folks have? The fact that you're so deeply connected with, Dillon's success, what's happening with Garrison, what's happening with Roman, and that you've been able, through the accolades, been able to maintain that through this.
They've always been that way. Our family is, I laugh that people always say he's Caucasian, and he's a little bit Caucasian. Dillon is Filipino Puerto Rican, and our Puerto Rican roots are very family oriented. Everything we did was family. I mean, even that way with Filipino. So it was always instilled. You're going to be there. You're going to back each other up. No matter what, you support your brother, your sister. Till this day, I mean, we do that. We get together whenever our families, my immediate brothers and sisters, my wife's, brothers and sister. And so that's all we knew growing up. That was part of it. You always stay tight. You always back each other up. And I mean, I have cousins. I have people that are texting me constantly about the rhetoric about Cleveland, and I mean they're angry. I'm just like, oh, you guys let it go. He's already at the pinnacle. Whatever happens. Let it all go. God will put him where he needs to, and good, bad, we just got to live with it. But to listen to all the negativity, the constant this, that, and I mean, it can drive you crazy because they don't know the kid, right?
Right.
I mean, if they knew him, they'd have a whole different perspective. But they have a right to their opinion. But at times, there's a lot of people that cross the line, reporters included.
Do you stay off of social media? Or it sounds like you do see some of this still, some of the chatter.
I say you need to, or else, you'd be taking some anger management classes and But yeah, you try to, we got to believe what he says, and he lets us know what's going on. His agent lets us know what's going on, the real inside the building kind of things. And you can't, you cannot social. I mean, the whatever it may be, because a lot of it is false narratives and false news.
And we should also mention that even though Dillon is a professional quarterback, a backup for the Cleveland Browns that could be QB1, one play away, like you said, you will still be coaching the Mililani head basketball team.
Correct.
Yes.
Yeah,
Awesome.
and I said basketball is my love. They always say, well, your son's in college. Why don't you go to his games?
Yeah.
I'd be at every game and whatnot, but we always laugh, me and my wife, because we can't retire. We got to still pay for Roman's bills. We got bills, and then she we had talked about it. She's like, what are you going to do, stay home and irritate me the whole day? You need to be out of the house doing what you do. You love basketball. The kids love you, well, for the most part. And, so I put a timeline on that because I do want to get to their games, but Romans especially, because I love basketball. I could sit there and watch college basketball all day, all night. And I be honest, I'm not a big NFL football guy, so I rarely watch. You know
Why
what I mean?
That?
I just don't.
The
I like the
physical aspect or just the style of the game?
I think because I love college football, it's more true.
Mm-hmm.
You got kids. Yeah, now they say, well, kids make the same amount of money and, blah, blah, blah. But it's still truer. I still feel like those guys, a lot of those guys, some of them are entitled, meaning they feel, yeah, you make money and you're putting out the work, but you still have to, I still want to see the love, for the game. And at times at the pro level, there's players out there, believe me, that just do it for the right reasons. But there's also many that they just play it because it's a job, they pay you well, and you want to make, money for your family. I get that. But for me, the love is at college sports, seeing these kids battle, you know what I mean? And to live out their dreams, right? Because a lot of them want to get to the NFL, but they don't understand how tough it is. It's tough. And being a quarterback's even tougher because you only have 2-3 quarterbacks at any given time on an NFL team. And if you got 32 teams at, let's say, 2, you're talking 64 quarterbacks out of how much? The number is huge. So, I praise those guys just to make it for practice. I mean, those on the practice squads, because it's tough to sit there and, again, wait for your opportunity that some may never come. So I always tell Dillon, be grateful. And when your opportunity comes, you got to run with it. You have to, in order to hang around and do what you want to do.
That leads me right into my last question. Is that the biggest piece of advice you've repeatedly tried to harp on your boys?
Yeah, because again, football, basketball, baseball, anything, that's just sports. That's not life. That's not reality. But at the same time, all those things, all those sports can teach you how to handle life better at times, because you will face, there's no question, you're going to face adversity. You're going to run into challenges. You're going to question your self-esteem. You're going to question you question a bunch of things, why you're doing this, right? Those people get injured and have to come back from ACLs, or, is it worth it? But it's all life lessons. And that's what I always tell them. When Mom and I are gone, I feel confident that what you guys have been through, that you guys will get past us being gone and translate all what we've taught you guys to your own families, and to keep close and to back each other up. And I said, that's what it's all about. People can say what they want. You can be the biggest sports hero, but it doesn't mean a damn thing if you're not a good person, if you're not doing the right things in life. Nobody is going to care. The wrong people will care, but not the truest of all true. You have to be true to who you are and what you're doing in life, and try and do things the right way.
Wonderfully said. Couldn't say it any better. Garrett Gabriel, thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
I'm serious. To have you in studio is an honor, because I was thinking you're for sure going to be on a plane to Cleveland right, when I contacted you.
Well, this is my first podcast. I'm laughing because I know Dillon and my other sons are going to critique me, because Dillon's been on several podcasts, and I'm listening to him going, I don't know, why did you say that? What the heck are you seeing? This and that, and I give them a hard time. So I know if they get wind of this one, they'll probably give me a hard time. But that's all right.
Aced it. Thank you so much. And also, too, I'm sure that you're going to have people queuing up some of the 1989, 1990 BYU matchups right now.
Yeah, I tell kids it's fun to watch. I said, you can watch our game, but watch the crowds. Watch the people at the game. To me, that's even the more telling sign that's how much fun it was playing back in the 80s.
Such a magical time.
It was, truly.
Thank you so much. Garrett Gabriel, that does it for another edition of the Long Game Podcast. You can catch the full conversation on the H&N streaming app and also past episodes as well. H&N streaming app